Hello everyone, my name is Zacheryytaylor Comics and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, which means it is New Comic Book Day. I am so excited for what is coming out today. We have the release of Psyclocke Ninja issue number 1. I'm a huge Psylocke fan, so I'm super excited for that. We have Nightwing issue 134, the return of Nightwing. If you guys haven't been following along with this Cirque de Sin or Circus of Sin story arc, guys, it is so exciting so far. Dexter Soy and Dan Waters have just been killing it so far. And then we have Amazing Spider-Man issue number 20 just off the top of the list that I'm super excited for this week. So super excited for the heat that's coming out today. But first things first, we got to get ready for the day because it's super cold in Nashville. And we're going to run some errands. We're going to hang out with some friends today. There's supposed to be a storm coming into Nashville, a winter storm, but we'll see how that is this weekend. But first things first, let's get ready for the day. Someone y'all haven't had the opportunity to meet yet. This is my best friend Opie. He is just the sweetest little cat, as you can see here. And something you might not notice at first, he's actually missing one of his legs. He moves along so well and he gets along amazing. He's the sweetest boy, but earlier this year he had an accident and ended up having to get amputated. But I am just so thankful and blessed to have him still in the family. Me and my parents just love him to death. Everyone that meets him loves him. But I would like you guys to meet Opie. As you can see, we're keeping the theme going this morning. First things first with the outfit plus the read of the day. So for today's outfit of the day, I have here my Halo Reach Noble 6 promo tee with a pair of vintage Levi cargo pants. And then for the boots, I'm wearing my Doc Martin 1460 boots. For today's read of the day, though, I wanted to go ahead and read Escape issue 1 and 2 by Rick Remender. I've heard nothing but good things about this series, and I wanted to go ahead and start getting caught up on the series. I finally got issue 1 and 5 last week, and I have 2, 3, and 4, so I have all the issues up to this point, and issue 6 comes out in February, so I wanted to go ahead and try to get caught up on this series this month at the very least, and I will get back to you guys with my thoughts afterward. We just finished reading Escape issue 1 and 2 by Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna, and guys, this was a fantastic read. I gave both issues a 5 out of 5 stars, but I wanted to share my thoughts with you all. This was so fun. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my review for you. If you're ever curious why I pull up my phone for these reviews, I log all my reviews on Comic Geeks. In the description below is my Comic Geeks profile. If you want to give me a follow, I will most definitely give you a follow back. But going into this review, I try to write all my reviews exactly how I'd read it back to myself or to you, the viewer. So let's go right into this. So Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna have teamed up and created a fun and unique story of Milton Shaw, a bomber pilot who is fighting against a world ruled by a ruthless fascist empire of anthropomorphic animals. However, when his plane is shot down during the mission, Milton ends up behind enemy lines in the very city he has brought to ruins. This story is heavily inspired by World War II, with designs, uniforms, and vehicles doing a fantastic job of being realistic to the time period and drawing you into the story, and Daniel Acuna has just crushed it on the art with this. The dialogue throughout the first issue as well makes you feel the weight of the war, not trying to sugarcoat the destruction at all. Remender here notes that the choice for the anthropomorphic animals was to evoke a deeper sense of empathy and to create a clearer commentary on man's humanity to man. So that was my thoughts on Escape issue 1, and I read actually the notes that Remender had at the back of the first issue, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that before I go into issue 2. So Rick Remender actually notes that a lot of this was inspired by his grandfather, who was a pilot in World War II and was actually a big key figure in taking down General Rommel in North Africa. And so I just thought that was really interesting. He notes that his father really didn't talk about his father, so Remender's grandfather, at all whenever he was alive. He wasn't really in his father's life that much, his grandfather was, but he notes that after his father's passing, he ended up going through some things and finding these little news cutouts and articles of his grandfather and these stories of what his grandfather's accomplishments were in World War II. And he wanted to create this story as a way to kind of share the destruction that the war has on these people, the toll that it takes on these people's lives, and how winning a war doesn't mean that you've won the war within yourself, and that's something that you're always going to have to battle. And I think this is just so beautiful so far. Daniel Cuna actually, he wanted to team up with, and Acuna notes that his grandfather was actually a part of the Spanish Civil War, which I thought was a really, really cool fun fact of history. And I'm a huge history buff, so I've loved this first issue a lot. I highly, highly recommend issue number 1 of Escape to anyone that hasn't read it so far. And going into Escape issue number 2, here we have Escape issue number 2 by Rick Remender and Daniel Cuna, and here are my thoughts on this second issue, guys. I gave this issue a 5 out of 5 stars as well. I freaking loved it. Following issue 1, with Milton now behind enemy lines in less than 24 hours until they let off the bomb to end it all, Milton is now going to attempt to destroy the Titan cannon before his own side drops the bomb. This issue, for the most part, is a flashback to Milton prior to the war and before the threat of fascism was on the horizon. Remender does just a fantastic job in this issue with the dialogue and character building of Milton, giving us a look into what Milton was like before the war and the special lady in his life, Ruth, and their child who is he fighting to protect. I love the storytelling and narration of Milton and Ruth by Acuna in this issue, showing how beautiful life was at home before the war. And I love this issue, guys. This was just a fantastic flashback story, giving us a little glimpse into Milton's life and the people that he is fighting to protect. I love the dialogue and the pacing in this story. Remender does a fantastic job with the dialogue between Milton and Ruth and just building the relationship up, as well as the storytelling and narration by Daniel Acuna throughout the story. I think the art is just fantastic. I am loving this series so far. I highly recommend it to anyone that hasn't read it. And going into everything that I read last week, here we have. Going into what I read last week, here we have East of West, Volume 1 by Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta. As I mentioned in my comic haul for Christmas, I'm a huge, huge Jonathan Hickman fan, and I actually was gifted this from my parents for Christmas, and I'm so, so thankful that I was gifted this. I wanted to get more into his stories, as I know Ultimate Spider-Man is wrapping up in February, which I'm going to be very saddened by, but I know that he totally rewrote the Marvel Universe and the X-Men with House of X and Powers of X and the Krakoa events, so I wanted to kind of give him some more chances with East of West. I heard great things about this story, and I'm so glad I finally read it. I gave this first volume a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but I have here my thoughts, and I wanted to share with you that. East of West is a story that follows the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, written by Jonathan Hickman and art by Nick Dragotta. This is a sci-fi western following the dystopian America under the cult-like belief of the 4 horsemen. But one of them has different plans, and it unfolds into something you would never ever expect. The history we get of our characters in this world is in backstories and flashbacks, and Hickman makes it work so, so well. East of West is perfectly balancing the bending of sci-fi and western, with fantastic world building, interesting characters and plots, as well as an overlooming threat of the world we know it ending. The things that divide us are stronger than the things that unite us. Guys, I freaking love this first volume. I think the characters in this story, the world building, the art, the pacing, everything about this first volume was super, super fun to me. The only reason I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars is because though we get these backstories and flashbacks in very brief parts, I still wanted there to be a little bit more of that than we got. It's not that I didn't enjoy the way that it was presented, but I just wanted a little bit more of that in this first volume. I love the characters in this. Death is so, so cool. But that is everything that I read last week. Guys, it is about that time. We're about to head to the LCS to pick up today's pickups for New Comic Book Day. I'm super excited for everything that's coming out this week. We have Psylocke issue number 1. Super excited for this as a huge Psylocke fan. We have Amazing Spider-Man issue number 20. We have Nightwing issue number 134, which is possibly going to be the wrap-up of Cirque de Sin. We have Captain America issue number 6, which is a continuation of the prequel event to Armageddon, coming out in June by Chip Zdarsky. So super excited for today's releases, but come with me, guys. We're going to hang out with some friends, pick up some comics, and have a great time. Today's new releases with Exquisite Corpses. They also just announced the movie. Dungeons of Doom, issue 1. Can't believe they still have it on the shelves. And then we have Nightwing, Children of the Circus. This is such a sick A cover, guys. I cannot lie, I love that A cover. We have Captain America Doom Shadow Part 1. Started the Armageddon event. Are you hyped for Armageddon? Ah! Today is the release of Daredevil and the Punisher issue 3. I've been loving this series so far, so super excited for this. This was on my pull list. Carson just spotted the foil variant of the Absolute Batman Annual. We got the Absolute Batman Annual right here. That was so tough.
Yeah, crazy.
Rogue Storm? No, Rogue.
Shadows of Tomorrow.
Shadows of Tomorrow. This is, yeah, dude, that's a crazy find.
I love it. Dude, that's sick.
That's sick. A ton of Uncanny X-Men.
Dude, what is this realism out of this, bro? That's crazy.
That's wild.
Look at this one.
Oh, that's 6 o'clock, dude.
Makes me feel a little queasy looking at
I don't know. I
feel like in a good way.
Yo, this is low-key like yours.
Yeah. Oh, that is, yeah, the Grant Morrison.
That's tough. This is so sick. Ghost Rider issue 7, issue 8, issue 11. All for $1. We just made it back. All right, we got Daniel and Carson behind us here, and we're gonna go through our pull of the week for January 21st, New Comic Book Day. Starting off the list, I have the foil cover of Psylocke Ninja, issue number 1. Patrick at the comic book store was telling me this is actually a little bit of a background story on Psylocke, kind of tying in some loose ends, so I am super excited for this. Daniel, what is your pull of the week?
The last issue of Everything Dead and Dying. Really don't want this to end. Kind of have some speculations that more could happen with some more people just in different parts of the world. But this is the end of this story at least, so this is my pull of the week.
The POW, the POW. All right, Carson, take it away.
Okay, I got the foil for the Absolute Batman Annual. I missed out on it originally, and I got it back, and I got a foil of it.
So hyped for this second printing. Guys, we will catch you back after we get some grub for today's comic book haul. We just made it back home, and as you can see here, I have a fat stack to go through for today's New Comic Book Day. Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I am uploading this a little bit later than usual. I'm so sorry about that. If you don't know, I try to upload these instantly after I get done filming on New Comic Book Day. So right now it's 8:30 in the evening. So I'm going to try to upload this hopefully by 10:30 at the latest it gets uploaded. But we're going to go straight into the stack. I have 13 single issues here, but I'm very excited for everything that I picked up. Starting the stack off, here we have Nightwing issue 134 by Dan Watters. Guys, if you haven't been catching up on this series, right after Tom Taylor's run, Dan Watters has been killing it. The Circus of Sin, or Cirque de Sin story arc has been fantastic so far, and I am so excited to see what Nightwing does in the outcome. The stakes are at an all-time high in this story. I highly recommend this to anyone that hasn't read this. But going into issue number 2 of the week, here we have issue number 2 of the week. Here we have Side Dimensional Rivals by Pete Momoko, Ivan Coelho's variant cover. Guys, I'm a huge Pete Momoko fan, and I wanted to pull one variant cover at the very least. I actually pulled this last week, but it didn't come in, and it came in today, so I'm so excited that I got this. And going into issue number 3, here we have issue number 3 of the week. Here we have Psylocke Ninja, issue number 1. This beautiful variant cover, as you can see here. Guys, I'm a huge Psylocke fan, and Patrick at the comic book store was actually telling me this is a bit of a background story that ties up a lot of loose ends in Psylocke's story, so I am so excited to read this. I'll most likely be reading this weekend, so I will be giving you guys my thoughts next week on this. And going into issue number 4 of the week, here we have issue number 4 of the week. We have Daredevil and Punisher, The Devil's Trigger. Guys, I have been loving this series so far. I've actually been fully caught up on this series and really enjoying this. This takes place in the middle of a Punisher run from the mid-2000s in 2006, and kind of is just about a few nights after Daredevil and Punisher's interaction, and it has been thrilling so far. I've been really enjoying the action and dialogue of this story. And going into issue number 5, here we have issue number 5. Here we have The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 20 by Joe Kelly. Guys, I've been loving this series so far. If you didn't know, this is actually coming out every 2 weeks rather than every month, and here soon this will be the only Spider-Man that we have on the shelf. So if you're a Spider-Man fan like me, I highly recommend getting into this series. And going in to issue number 6 of the week, here we have Issue number 6, we have Rogue, issue number 1. Guys, I am so excited for this series. I actually managed to pick up the poster at my local comic book store and snag it whenever they take it off the shelves, so I'm super excited to get that. And I am a huge Rogue fan, huge X-Men fan, so super excited to read this series. And going into issue number 7, here we have issue number 7, here we have Chip Zdarsky's Captain America, issue number 6. Guys, I'm so excited to get caught up on this series. I've heard nothing but good things, and this is actually a tie-in event to the upcoming event of Armageddon by Chip Zdarsky coming out in June. But I'm so excited for this. And going into issue number 8, here we have issue number 8. Here we have Ghost Rider issue number 7. Guys, I am so excited. I managed to find this in the dollar bins. I've actually never been able to collect any Ghost Rider or find it on shelves, but finding this in the back issues was super cool to me. And I actually managed to find an early issue into the series, so everything that I don't have before this, I can read on Marvel Unlimited. And going into issue number 9, here we have issue number 9. Here we have Ghost Rider issue number 8. Guys, I'm super excited. I found this as well in the dollar bins. I actually managed to find quite a few of this series in the dollar bins. And going into issue number 10, here we have issue number 10. Here we have Ghost Rider issue number 11. This is such a sick cover, honestly, and I just love Ghost Rider as a character. He's such a unique character, and just Johnny Blaze, I've just thought was so cool as a child watching Nicolas Cage portray him in the movies early on. I thought did a phenomenal job. And going into issue number 11, here we have issue number 11. Here we have Ghost Rider issue number 19. Guys, this is such a sick cover, as you can see here. Probably one of my favorites out of my pulls that I was able to find of the Ghost Riders. And going into issue number 12, here we have issue number 12. We have Ghost Rider issue number 20. Guys, as I mentioned, I was able to find quite a few of these in the dollar bins and back issues, so this was super sick to find. A great price, honestly, for these, and a great ongoing series that I can start collecting, and everything that I don't have in between I can read on Marvel Unlimited. And going into, last but not least, issue number 13, here we have issue number 13. We have Ghost Rider issue number 21. Guys, this is such a beautiful cover. This will most definitely be going up on a Ghost Rider comic wall. As you can see, I love the use of negative space in this. This is probably my favorite cover that I managed to find today, but this is everything that I found this week. Guys, thank you all so much for watching today's New Comic Book Day vlog. I hope you all have a fantastic day. As I mentioned before, I try to upload these at every single day on Wednesdays whenever I edit these. Every single video that I try to make, I try to upload the day of. I don't like to make anything just one day and then upload it the next. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Be safe. Let me know in the comments down below what you picked up this week. I would love to hear. And as always, happy New Comic Book Day, guys. We will be back next week for New Comic Book Day. Peace.